Israeli-Russian blogger Alexander Lapshin has been extradited to Azerbaijan from Belarus. He's wanted in Baku for posts critical of the leader of the Central Asian nation and unauthorized visits to the disputed Nagorno-Karabakh region. Lapshin was detained in Belarus in December over the extradition request, and the Supreme Court on Monday upheld the ruling to extradite him. He was flown to Azerbaijan from Minsk just hours after the court's decision. Azerbaijani prosecutors accused the travel blogger of illegally entering the breakaway region of Nagorno-Karabakh in 2011 and 2012 and supporting recognition of its independence. If convicted, he could face up to 8 years in jail. Russia's foreign ministry commented on the case, saying any extradition of Russian citizens to a third country would be inadmissible.
Այսօր միջոցառում ամենը լեզվով է դրվի, ուսանցեր մեջ ոյների չգա, որ ամենը չի ասենում, մի քանի պրայրեն մխոսում եմ, բայց էլի ամենով բարեմ ծերնան, երբ որ հարցում բալասկաների ժամանակն է հետազում եմ հայերենով հարցանել, նույնիսկ ուսերենով կամ ուսախոսեն է, Darüber karşısında gösteriyorum. Hayır. Da araya geldik, şu an galiba buraya geldik. Galiba bu çözümden. Es Cernar ve Kazmaker Bulgazı, Movana Bulgazı gerek aynı Kazmakerleri olmayız. Raçında UIA, Unified Young Armenians, Yegurta İranay Petron'dan mühitüne, Yerorgan Hayali Kazmaker mühitüne. Հիմա ես անֆերենով ներկայացնեմ Արոն Lapshinին, ատի հետ ունենք երկու շատ կարճ վիդեո, եւ ատի հետ խոսքը կտամ Արոն Lapshinին, որ ինքը շարունակի։ So Lapshin, thank you for coming. It's a great honor to be here and to enjoy your company. We'll start the program by me introducing you and presenting you with a short biography. Alexander Lapshin is a travel blogger and journalist. He holds Russian, Israeli, and Ukrainian citizenships. Lapshin was born in 1976 in Sverdlovsk, now Yekaterinburg, to a Russian father and a Jewish Ukrainian mother. At the age of 13, he immigrated to Israel with his family. After graduating from the University of Haifa, he served 3 years with the Israel Defense Forces. On December 15, 2016, Lapshin was arrested in Minsk, Belarus, at the request of Azerbaijan, which accused him of illegally crossing Azerbaijan border and causing incitements against the state of Azerbaijan. Lapshin visited Artsakh twice in 2011 and 2012, resulting in his blacklisting by Azerbaijan. Nevertheless, Lapshin visited Baku in June 2016, having entered Azerbaijan with his Ukrainian passport through the Georgia border. He was able to avoid detection by the border officers due to a different spelling of his name. Is that correct?
More or less.
Okay, you can correct it. You can say anything wrong. Belarus extradited Lapshin to Azerbaijan on February 7, 2017. Diplomats of Russia, Israel, and Armenia attempted to prevent his extradition to Azerbaijan. I'm not sure if this is true either. More or less, okay. The representative of the US State Department, John Kirby, spoke about the Lapshin case. The protest in connection with the extradition of Lapshin was also announced by the OSCE. A court in Baku sentenced Lapshin to 3 years in prison. On the night of September 11, 2017, Lapshin was attacked in a solitary confinement cell of a Baku pre-trial detention. In the morning of the same day, Ali Hassanov, a personal advisor to the President Aliyev, made a statement that Lapshin had attempted suicide, but that the prison guards managed to save his life. It was also stated that in connection with this incident, it was decided to pardon him by presidential decree. Lapshin spent 3 days in the intensive care unit in Baku Hospital, and then was deported to Israel. After arriving in Israel, he spent 2 weeks in a hospital there, and made a statement to the press that he had not committed suicide and that he had been attacked in Baku with the aim of murder. He filed a complaint against Azerbaijan in the European Court of Human Rights in 2018, accusing Azerbaijan of attempted murder, torture, and illegal imprisonment. On May 20, 2021, the European Court of Human Rights in Strasbourg ruled on his complaint against the Republic of Azerbaijan, finding the country's authorities responsible for the illegal arrest, torture, and attempted murder against Lapshin. In 2022, the UN Human Rights Committee adopted a decision recognizing the Belarusian authorities as guilty of the illegal arrest and subsequent extradition to Azerbaijan. The resolution emphasizes that visiting Artsakh as a journalist cannot be considered a criminal offense and that the extradition to Azerbaijan potentially threatened his life. He has since toured the world exposing the violations of human rights by the Aliyev dictatorship and defending the rights of Artsakh Armenians. He is currently visiting the United States, Canada, and Mexico to meet with human rights activists and politicians to bring to their attention the plight of Armenians in Artsakh. Welcome. I'll now show two short videos. I hope the technicians. Okay, let's watch two short videos and then we'll continue with the program. I'm sure this video brings very sad memories to you. It's very hard to watch for us, let alone to you who suffer so much on our behalf. So now we give the floor to you. You can say a few words and I can ask you questions if you want. We'll continue.
I'll mention 2 points. First of all, about my red jacket. So, this red jacket. So, I was born from Minsk to Baku, Azerbaijan, with this jacket. And I spent several months in Azerbaijani solitary confinement with the jacket. I used as a pillow, this jacket. So, after I was released, I think on 2020, I arrived to Armenia. Immediately after the Artsakh war, and I just wanted to support somehow the refugees and the families of the killed Armenian soldiers. So I just sold this red jacket for $3,000, and I purchased this jacket for $15,000. So we just were able to purchase about between 70 and 100 bags with the food, potatoes, sausages, and different food to spread all the families. So that's one point. And the second point about my visit to Azerbaijan after I was blacklisted. It's a very interesting story. They published my photo and my name in the Foreign Ministry website of Azerbaijan. But after some time, in 2016, I was invited to Azerbaijan by the Heydar Aliyev Foundation to take a part as a journalist in a car racing Formula 1 in Baku, in city of Baku. So I just messaged them, guys, I'm on the blacklist of Azerbaijan. Are you sure you want to invite me? But actually, I communicated with the Italian company Pirelli. So the Italians told me, yes, okay, we'll talk at the Azerbaijani side. I said, that's okay, no worries. So they paid for my tickets and paid for my hotel in the city of Baku. I arrived to Baku. I spent 2 weeks actually in Azerbaijan, traveled all around Azerbaijan, here in the car. And I left Azerbaijan to Iran, I spent a week in Tehran. And then I found out a lot of publications in the Azerbaijani media that I somehow penetrated to Azerbaijan using my Iranian passport, I'm Armenian spy, etc., etc. So I was sitting in my hotel in Tehran, Iran, and I was really surprised because actually they invited me and paid for my tickets and my hotel accommodation. So this is about my visit to the state.
Okay, well, thank you. Now, can we start from the beginning? I know you visited many countries, over 100 countries, I think?
152.
152 countries. So let's isolate just one country from the other, to do Armenia. So can you tell us how did your relationship start with Armenia? What made you go to Armenia? What was the link to Armenia?
First time I went to Armenia in 2006 or 7, I don't remember for sure, because I just tried to find good friends of my grandfather and grandmother who were Armenians, and they were just friends since the 70s during the Soviet times. So they studied in the city of Sverdlovsk, they lived in Europe, and started together with my mother. So we've not been in touch for over the 35 years, so I just tried to find them. And the only thing I knew about this man is just his name, Eduard Milikan. And the number of the street, Charents. That's all. And actually 35 years passed since they met the last time. So we came to Yerevan. I didn't know if this man is still alive. And I just walked around along the street of Charents and just asked everyone, do you know Eduard Milikan? And they thought, yes. Yeah, it was in the birthday of my mom, 10th of September. So I found him, I talked to him, he was crying a little bit well, so many times passed. This is my first time. And then I arrived to Armenia in 2011. Here at the Yerevan airport, I just traveled all over Armenia, from Gyumri to Mihri, including Artsakh. I spent 2 whole days in Artsakh. It's a very short visit actually, because I had to go back to the airport to come back to Israel because it was my vacation, very short vacation. And it was the beginning of my travels in the future. So, after almost 5 years, let's continue my normal life. I traveled around the globe. I published hundreds of articles and filmed a lot of videos of different regions of the world. So I went to Armenia, not to Armenia, to Belarus. I went to Belarus from Lithuania and Baltic states by train. I was on my way to Moscow. So I had to pass through Belarus. I had no idea if I'm in the wanted list of Azerbaijan. Because 5 years passed since my visit outside. So I had to sleep one night, to stay one night in Minsk, in a hotel just in front of the train station. And just in the middle of the night, somebody knocked on the door. I just woke up, walked to the door and looked. There were 2 policemen with machine guns. They said, please open the door, open the door, and they told me you're under arrest in the Republic of Azerbaijan because illegal entry into the territory of the Republic of Azerbaijan. So it's quite a joke. I told guys, are you serious? They said, yes. Here's the paper from the prosecutor of this Pervomaysky district of Minsk, capital city of Belarus. And so I found out I have to somehow to message to my family, to my friends, that I'm under arrest, because otherwise Belarus is the last dictatorship in Europe. So in case they will catch me now, they just can kill me. I will just disappear, that's it. As thousands of Belarusians just disappeared because of this regime. So could I just go to the restroom for a second? He said, okay, you can go, and then take it along. So I go to the police station. So when I entered the restroom, I forcibly closed the door, and luckily I forgot my cell phone inside the restroom. So I was able to send a message through Facebook and WhatsApp to my family, and they published the post in the Facebook that I'm under arrest in Minsk, Pervomaysky district of Minsk, 2 policemen, machine guns, I mentioned the names, everything I could remember. And then my smartphone made just zzz. So they heard, they opened the door, put a printing out of my hands. And I remember one of the policemen, he called somewhere and said, Major, he was able to send the message, what to do now? And they called me, this bastard was able to send the message, what to do now? So probably the major told him, okay, take him to the police station, take him to the police station. I spent 2 days in the police station, in like a small cell inside the police station without windows, without the restroom. I was provided with a plastic bottle for my needs. That's it, without food, without anything. But because I sent the message, so the next day, all the newspapers in Russia and opposition newspapers in Belarus, Europe, like and Voice of America, Radio Sloboda, and like BBC, all of them published that I was arrested and request of suppression. So just couldn't just kidnap me to Baku. So this plan was just kidnapping. But so my family carried a lawyer to come to the jail to meet me. So the police refused. I asked whether somebody from the embassy, Russia, or Israel, I was refused as well. They told me, this is Belarus, come on. And then I was taken to the central prison of Baku, it's called Valavarka prison. And it's a very famous place because during the Nazi occupation, I think from 1941 till 44, they kept thousands of Jews in this prison and killed them, executed them in this place. So this is a historic place. I was kept there for 2 months. From the beginning, they continued with unlawful things. I wasn't allowed to talk with that lawyer. Both ambassadors from Russia and Israel, they just couldn't visit me. They sent a lot of notes to the Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Belarus, were refused. Finally, I was invited to interrogation with the Belarusian investigator. He told me, look, this is a political issue. We will take it to Azerbaijan. It was decided by the President Lukashenko. So we could see the press conference. And I could see this press conference in my cell. It was a television. It was a cell full of people, really small cell, like I'm thinking 5 meters, and 5 meters like 10 foot. Yeah, very small cell, there's like 30 people inside, and have television. So remember that my cellmates told me, wow man, you're in trouble, because President told them you will be sent to Azerbaijan, so no chance to somehow to prevent it. And still I applied to the High Court of Belarus. We tried to prevent the extradition, because it was like hopeless. So immediately on the same day of this press conference, I was extradited to Azerbaijan. I was taken to the airport of the city of Minsk, and I could see this jet from the fleet of the President Aliyev. So the flight took like 5 hours because normally it's 2.5 hours because Russia refused to provide them with the route over the territory of Russia, because Russia actually protested against my extradition, and Israel, the European Union, and even John Kirby, State Department, talked about my case. So we had to fly 5 hours over Ukraine, Turkey, and then return to the Republic of Georgia and arrive to Baku. And then there were a lot of, I think, tens, maybe hundreds of Azerbaijani pro-government journalists in the airport. Those soldiers, you see this picture, they entered inside the jet and they told me in Russian, keep low profile. You will see a lot of journalists, a lot of government officials. So we just want to show the world that the same will happen with each one who will try to visit occupied Nagorno-Karabakh. That's only in case you will try to talk with the people and to say strange things, we just will kill you. That's it. Honestly speaking, they said something different. They said they were very sexual. That's what they said. So I was taken to the prison. When I was taken to the prison, there was a huge room full of Azerbaijani soldiers and police. 20, 30 people, I don't remember exactly. They told me, take off your clothes. And I was just standing there. All of them, they took photos and videos, so we just made. And then I was taken to my cell, where I spent 7 months solitary cell, without windows, without television, of water 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the evening, once per, I think, 7 or maybe 10 days, I was taken to what they call bathing. Bathing means to take a shower room. I was a hot water each time, like 10-15 minutes. And then I told you to tell us about the judgment or something.
No, I want to say one thing and then you microphone. Oh, sorry. Well, at least we have one thing in common between you and I. I'm also on the blacklist of Azerbaijan for visiting Artsakh. And the Republic of Azerbaijan has a website where they list all the people from around the world who have gone to Artsakh. They're on the blacklist. So, fortunately, I'm safe. I'm not going to Belarus, anywhere like that, so I don't think they're going to get me from the United States. But maybe you can talk a little bit about the day when I think 4 soldiers or police came to sail in Baku.
So I'll tell a little bit about the judgment.
Judgment.
Yeah. So from the first day when I arrived to the prison, they took to interrogation. There were 2 investigators, Colonel Kamal Talibov, the names, all men of all my life, Kamal Talibov and Vugar Basipov. And the first one is the son of the ex-chief of the High Court of the Republic of Azerbaijan. So all of them studied in Moscow, in Russia, and they told me from the beginning, look, we're just your friends here. We're just like you, just guys from the street, simple guys from the street. Yeah, that's not what they're head of the High Court. Yeah. They said, in case you cooperate with us, we'll take you home. We will fly home. You will see your wife and your daughter, and we'll be okay. But you need to cooperate with us. They said, we're going to take you to the court. It's going to be full procedures of judgment, and you will receive between 10 and 20 years in jail, but don't worry. Then we will be sent to Israel. Because we need to show the world what's going to be happening with Nagorno-Karabakh. That's it. So we're kind of friendly from the beginning. And it was actually strange. And my attorney was the guy, his name was Huseynov, his surname was Huseynov. He was an old guy who couldn't speak even Russian. He was just sleeping all the time. I think the only sentence he told me, he said, you need to cooperate with our investigators and you need to confess, to plead guilty, and in this case it will be okay. This was really funny. For the people who, for example, live in the United States, it's really funny. So, and I'm not kind of Rambo or something, I'm not Superman. So, I just, one of them already told me in the jet, we will just rape you sexually and we will kill you. So this is not a joke, because many Armenian soldiers got the same 4 years later, in 2020, after the Artsakh war. So it's not a joke at all. So I said, okay, I will cooperate with you. So what's next? So every day I was taken to the interrogations, every day for about maybe 3 weeks. Between 2 and 7, 8 hours per day. They asked hundreds and thousands of strange questions about my roots, the family. Actually, they tried to figure out if I'm Armenian. It was really funny. I asked, do you look like Armenian or something? I'm going to ask me so many questions about my Armenians. They said, once you publish a story that your mother, she has a friend who was Armenian from Yerevan during the Soviet times. I said, yes, I published this in my blog. He said, exactly. So maybe this Eduard American is your father? I said, look, it was like that. In 1970, almost 7 years before I was born. It's just mathematics. So this one said, okay, but this is one more point. Okay, I will mention this is too personal. They told me, for example, why do you support Armenians? I told them, look, I'm not supporting Armenians, I'm supporting human rights. It's not because of Armenians. I support people of Rwanda. I support like refugees from Nicaragua. It's all the same. all of us, people of the earth. Then they told me a lot of different things about Armenian nations, that they arrived from India, from city of Hyderabad. I asked them, why Hyderabad? From Mumbai or Chennai or something. He said, but Hyderabad is from, because Hy means Armenian. but I visited India, and I told them, guys, have you ever been to India? They said, no. I said, but I've been to India. Hyderabad, because of the Haidar, is the name of priest in Islam, in Quran. I said, are you Muslim? They said, yes. So, have you tried to read Quran? This is from Quran. So they said, okay, never mind, let's not talk about India. So it's really funny. People, so this kind of Armenophobia is just undescribable. They told me about the First Artsakh War. They told me that Armenians are so crazy bastards that they killed pregnant Azerbaijani women and just opened their stomach and they just cooked hashlama on the unborn child in Khajali. And actually those guys who just talked to me, they were about 35, 40 years old. So I asked, guys, have you seen this? They said no. So I'm sure that not, because it was like 1991, 92. So it was just a child, maybe 14 years old, we couldn't go to fight against Armenians. So we probably heard for somebody. They said, yeah, for somebody. Couldn't you please mention his name? So they said, we're asking questions here, not you. They said different dirty things about Armenian women. They said most of them prostitutes. Most of them actually during the Soviet times were used just for sexual business and different dirty things. It actually reminded me what Nazis said about Jews, because my family actually experienced Holocaust. And I remember from my grandfather and grandmother, some of them passed the ghettos and concentration camps. For example, my grandfather was able to escape from Auschwitz. So I've heard about different things about Jews. Jews came from India, came to roam the world. The Jewish movement, all the prostitutes, exactly the same, like Nazi propaganda. And so it was a horrible experience. So every day I hold the same. And what about my cell condition? It was a really small room, as I mentioned, without window, without the restroom, is a hole in the concrete. I think that intentionally didn't provide with toilet paper, sorry to mention, but without toilet paper, without water, as I said, a couple hours in the morning, a couple hours in the evening, and small plastic bottle. So they told me you can use a small plastic bottle in case you want to go to the restaurant. You can use it. So, but I need paper, I need all that. I need more water. I said, no, that's enough. So after some time, after you live in such conditions, you start to experience different diseases, like skin diseases and dandruff, and with your nails, and different like internal diseases. I'm sorry to mention, for example, I couldn't pee normally because when I was released after 7 months, found that it was a kind of bacteria inside because of this kind of conditions. Bad food, like cold porridge in the morning, a small soup in the lunch. Soup is like small pieces of potatoes and little pieces of cabbages, and sometimes insects inside. Some insects or parts of insects. And in the evening, mashed potatoes, or once again cold porridge. That's it. So I couldn't see meat, fish. I dreamed about small egg, just small egg, small pieces, small egg. It was my dreams of the night. But actually, what was really horrible is that I didn't have windows, so I couldn't figure out if it's daytime or nighttime. And my watch was taken from me. And I didn't have television or something. So I couldn't understand if this is the time to sleep or time to eat or what to do. And so I was thinking to myself, if they bring porridge, which means this is the breakfast. So soup means lunch. But I think they changed the food just to make my kids, my psychological condition to deteriorate. But I found something else. It was a small village nearby the jail, and I could hear the prayer of the mosque. And I studied Arabic in the university. They couldn't understand morning prayer or evening prayer. So they could do nothing with this. This is the mosque. So this mosque actually saved my life. Because otherwise I would just go crazy. And basically, so it's come to totem my life.
Okay, so can we now discuss the attack in the prison?
About the judgment, yeah. So before the judgment, I was told by the investigators, so they said, 2 weeks, we're going to the court. But they said, what we want from you, you have to come to the court and to say Karabakh is Azerbaijan. And you have to say, Mr. Hamali, I'm so much sorry about my visit to occupy territories of the Republic of Azerbaijan. And you can just say that Armenians just force you to go to occupied territories, and you can just say that Armenians are just a terrorist regime who killed thousands of Azerbaijanis. So it will be good after that. I tried to explain them. I said, look, I'm not the president of the United States. I can say that Brazil and the United States is a part of Azerbaijan, but it doesn't make sense. So I'm just a simple Morgan journalist. They said, look, President Ali personally wants you to say so. So I'm not going to argue if he's smart or not smart. So President wants you to say so in the court. Basically, I will ask, even by my attorney, he said, please do this. Because otherwise, they will kill you. Like they killed many people in this jail. And actually, I was ready to say so. But just before their last meeting in the court, before the decision, I was assaulted on myself for some reason. So 4 masked men entered my cell in the middle of the night. I was assaulted by them. It was light 24 hours per day, so I could see them. I was the masked, special forces was the force here. Special forces, it's 2 seconds, so I could do just nothing. I was sleeping, just opened my eyes, and I could see just 4 guys in front of me. 3 of them just kept my legs and my hands, and one of them jumped on my chest and just started to struggle with their fingers like this. So I just could do nothing. So I was beaten. I remember just noises like so some ribs were broken, my hands, left hand was broken, and my teeth and my jaw was broken. And actually I lost my consciousness. So the next time I opened my eyes, actually my eye, because my right eye was closed because of the huge hematoma. And it was in a hospital. I could see Israeli Consul General in Baku and some Azerbaijan officials, and they told me, oh, wow, you opened your eyes, we're so happy. And you received the pardon from the President Ali. So after we'll be able to fly to Israel, we will take you home. And they said that I tried to commit suicide, but they saved my life. So I tried to tell them, it was an attempt on my life, suicide, but I couldn't talk because Hinoid bone here was broken, and it was in a plastic form. So I couldn't talk. I couldn't use my right hand to write. That's it. So I tried to write on a piece of paper, but it was an attempt on my life and my suicide attempt. So the Israeli Consul General just whispered to me. She said, please keep quiet. We know everything. We will take you home. So after 5 days, I was taken home by the jet of Azerbaijan Airlines, the same one. I was taken to Israel, where I spent 2 weeks in the hospital. And it was the first time I told to Israeli media. I just told them it was an attempt on my life. Actually, I told everything. and passed medical examinations in laboratory, expertise laboratory in Tel Aviv, and they came to conclusion it was actually attempt murder. It's not suicide. For example, Azerbaijanis were so, I would say, unprepared for killings that they write strangulation classes. One is here and one is here. So when the person tried to commit suicide, just because of physical measures, it's going to be here, but not here. So when I lost my consciousness, probably they put my body on the ground and tried to strangle me with their rope. And when I lost my consciousness, absolutely, they tried to stage suicide. Probably so. So then I applied, when I was able to do something. I applied to the European Court of Human Rights and to the Committee of Human Rights of the United Nations, and we won all the cases. But during this time, I suddenly I was invited to the Israeli Shabak. It's more like FBI, like FBI in Israel. And they told me, look, what you do is against the national interest of Israel. They said, we have so much story about your experience in Azerbaijan jail, and we actually support you as a person. But they said, real politics is a little bit different. They said, Israel is a small country in the Middle East, and surrounded by the Muslim countries, and we're alone here. We have not enough allies here, and both Azerbaijan and Turkey are allies. So they said, don't take it personally. They said, just continue your life. You have a small daughter, beautiful daughter, a beautiful wife, everything is good, just forget about what happened. And they said, in this case, so your wife will receive Israeli citizenship for the middle of naturalization procedure. She will receive it within just a couple of months, more or less. And I refused, actually. I said, no way. I said, guys, all of us served the Israeli military. You're from the special forces of intelligence. I was just the Air Force. But I spent 9 months in the jail just for nothing. They tried to kill me. And I'm not going to leave it just aside. I will punish them in the court. So they said, look, in this case, so your future in Israel will be so-so. Because you arrive on everything with the passport, you experience a lot of troubles here. They said, just be smart. Think about this. So, on the same evening, I talked with my wife. We said we will support each other. She said, do what you think to do, what is right to do. I will with you in any case. So we won both the cases, and she's still without Israeli citizenship for 14 years from now, without work permit, without medical insurance, without anything. But we did it. And nowadays we're traveling around the globe because I wouldn't say homeless, I have 3 passports, and she has 2 at home. Yeah, but still, we cannot go to Russia because of what's happening in Russia and Ukraine, and they can be arrested in Russia because they published a lot of information, a lot of articles against the war in Ukraine, so I condemn Putin for aggression against Ukraine. And I cannot go to Ukraine because this is kind of a typically corrupt country. I can be kidnapped to Azerbaijan, and this time I will be killed for sure. So, a little bit homeless, but that's okay. No, really, I love this life. Because we travel along the globe, we have more or less good passports, so we can travel most of the countries without visa. So we stayed in Mexico, in Canada, in France, in Egypt, in Thailand. And our daughter studied in 3 countries. So she's 8 years old. She visited for today 57 countries. She knows a number of languages. And that's quite interesting. So I travel around the globe, I meet with politicians, interviews during this trip, and hopefully I bring to the attention of the world leaders and politicians and human rights activists all around about what's happening in Nagorno-Karabakh. So that's basically my story.
Thank you very much. Well, this is a very, very personal and very sad story, but I'm glad you survived it. and who's now sitting with us. On behalf of the Armenian nation, I thank you for your support. I know you meet with various politicians in the United States, in France, in other countries, and you always bring up the situation in Artsakh. You bring up the violation of human rights in Azerbaijan, which doesn't make Azerbaijan happy. And I understand that, again, they've made some threats against you. If they ever get you back, this time they will kill you for sure, so you keep your mouth shut. I think at this point, let's give a chance for the audience to ask some questions. And I would like to invite Artin Artunia, the president of the Unified Young Armenians, to join me on the stage. So, let's see. I don't know if there's supposed to be somebody with a microphone for the audience to ask questions, but I don't see anybody with a microphone.
I don't need a microphone, I can make a comment.
Okay, good, go ahead.
After all of this, by the way, you deserve to add a letter to your name and become Lapshin.
Terroristyan.
What did we say?
Terroristyan. Lapshin.
Oh, okay.
Lapshin, Armenian, Aristan. Terroristyan. Aristan. Terroristyan. Terroristyan.
Lapshin, on behalf of, again, the three organizations, I would like to again thank you for what you have done. And thank you for the path that you traveled, and we all acknowledge and appreciate all the work that you're continuing to do both on Armenians' behalf and Artsakh's behalf, and most importantly on human rights. And so for us, we want to obviously say that we are thankful and we acknowledge the work that the process that we have been through. Before I give the floor, I guess, to the audience, my question would be, we talk about the human rights in Azerbaijan time and time again. The media has talked about it, but as someone that has experienced firsthand of what the regime of Azerbaijan is capable of doing, not just in its own country, but with the reach that it has in Belarus and the fellow authoritarian regimes. What would be your ask, or what would be your call on the US or American politicians or the politicians of the more civilized and democratic world?
Well, look, unfortunately, the real politics is terrible, unfortunately. So today, Azerbaijan is even more important for the West than before the war in Ukraine, unfortunately. So the Russian Federation uses the territory of Azerbaijan to go around the same things. So Russian petrol and gas goes through the pipeline for nowadays. So basically, Azerbaijan took a part in the war in Ukraine. So by supporting the Russian Federation. And the West, just be quiet about all those things, So I try to explain these very simple things to all the people I meet. What made me extremely upset? So when I was in Brussels, in the European Parliament, I told this number of politicians, I told them, look, we had enough troubles, so keep away from the pipeline. So unfortunately, this is very complicated what's happening now, but it doesn't mention that we need to stop everything. We need to fight, we need to explain, and we need to show the people. So, for example, today, Artsakh, okay. Basically, I was able to visit Artsakh once again in December 2021. I think about 8 months before the blockade, I think so. I was able to visit it. And I was sure it was going to happen, the blockade. Because Azerbaijan were just standing just in front, just nearby the road when we pass from Goris to Stepanaker, when we pass the city of Shushi. You could see a lot of Azerbaijani soldiers were just nearby. and took photos and videos of all the cars passing, of all the people. So I just crossed with the COVID mask on my face in order to prevent any incidents. But look, I do what I can. So let's pray for this.
Thank you. If anyone has any questions from the audience, we'll be happy to hand the microphone. So if you have any questions, please raise your hands and we'll give off the microphone to you.
Take a microphone. There is a microphone. Razmi.
Thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate your story. Has any of the international human rights groups approached you? Because your story is not just an Artsakh story. It's not just an Armenian story. It's like an international story from Artsakh to Belarus to Azerbaijan to Israel to United States. Has any of the international human rights activists approached you to help you to tell your story or publish your story?
Basically, all of the main human rights organizations in the world supported me and published a lot of press releases and articles about it. I mean, Human Rights Watch, Amnesty, Human Rights Foundation, CPJ, in support of journalists, and Reporters Without Borders, all of them actually. They know my case. And now here in the United States, I've been to New York 20 days ago. So I visited most of the organizations, like Amnesty and Human Rights Watch, most of them. So, but basically, except the press releases, they can do nothing. And even after the press releases, I was told in CPJ organization, they said after they just published the press release about our meeting in New York, like 20 days ago, they received a lot of threats from Azerbaijanis in the United States, like personal threats against the employees of this organization. So they said it's dangerous, it's not safe, and they applied to the police of New York to do something, but nothing was done, and that's what's going on now. So I couldn't feel safe even here in Glendale. Honestly speaking, because every day I receive different messages, for example, on Facebook. But we published this logo about our event. I received a number of texts from Azerbaijanis in Los Angeles. They said we will come and we will meet you outside of the building. So I'm sure it's not going to be happening, but who knows? So that's the situation.
I'm wondering if would you like to talk about the movie that possibly they may make about your story?
Yeah. We're now working an interesting project. We're going to film the movie, action movie. It's going to be called Blacklist, which means blacklist of undesired person of Azerbaijan who visit Nagorno-Karabakh outside. So we started this project 3 years ago, but because of COVID, we lost a lot of time, so we continue now. So we work with Armenian film producer Jivan Avitisyan. I think some people know him. Jivan Avitisyan. And on the American side, we have Dan Gordon, film producer Dan Gordon, who produced Rambo and Universal Soldiers. So I remember those movies from childhood. And hopefully it's going to be done within a couple of years. Hopefully. And I hope it will be a good economic tool for the Armenian interest.
Excuse me, what is your position about Azerbaijan, Aliyev, and the rest of the country calling Armenia Western Azerbaijan? Are you publicizing it? Do most people know about it?
This is just Armenophobic propaganda. That's okay.
Could
I heard them
propaganda
in
is being used, and the people living in Azerbaijan are believing that what Armenia is, what remains of what Armenia used to be, is part of Azerbaijan when Azerbaijan did not exist 100 years ago.
Look, Ali had to show his own people, Azerbaijani people, is so strong. So all of this propaganda is not for the Armenian audience, it's for Azerbaijanis. That's the point. He said a lot of things, actually, and even more things, he said. For example, remember after the war, he said, Pashinyan, remember this? Yeah. So this is a kind of regime. That's it.
This time in Gerhardt. Կներեք հայտնի համար, ուրեմն դուք համար ասում եք Հայաստանի, Արցախի, հայ ժողովրդի բարեկամներ, որի համար շնորհակալ ենք։ Ես կուզեի իմանալ դուք ձեր հրյա բարեկամներին այդ ոճը ուղղում եք, ասում եք եթե նրանք գիտեն, որ դուք բարեկամ եք, նրանք եք բարեկամանալ, որտեղ մի հատվածը գիտեք հակահայկական հարստություն են վարում, ուստի իմ հարցը սա էր, ձեր հրյաներին կարողանում եք նորը հասնել, որ Արցախը վտանգի մեջ է, Արցախը Ադրբեջանը տերորիստ է եւ այլն, շնորհակալություն։
He's asking that thank you to the friend of our Armenians in Artsakh, but are you able to communicate your message to the Jewish community? And because of the issues we have with Israel and Azerbaijan, are you able to convince the Jewish community to also support the cause that you are supporting?
Unfortunately, it had a lot of context in the Jewish community, not only here in the United States, but first of all in Israel. The Jews of Israel is Israelis. So,
We need oil too.
yeah, they need oil, and they need the territory of Azerbaijan for the future war with Iran. So they used Azerbaijani territory for spying of Iranians, and they used Azerbaijani airports for operations against Iran. So I cannot expect any support from Jews. So even the nice guys and girls in different human rights organizations, Jewish human rights organizations, who I met in New York and Los Angeles, they just told me just in a straight way, look, Azerbaijan is our ally. Okay, this is dictatorship. We're sorry about what happens to you, but this is not our business. They said this is, we have enough troubles as Palestinian case in the Middle East. So they said you cannot expect foreign support from us, because for us, Israel is much more important than any other thing. And basically, I can understand it. This is what we call real politics.
Вам речь Хайринова Семир, Richardson,
Եթե կարելի է ես էլ հայրեն ուղղեմ հարցս, այսպիսի հարց, հետո կարող եմ ուսեն ասել։ Իսկ մտածել եք երբևէ, մի հարց որ վաղուց է ինձ հետաքրքրում, ինչու հենց պարոն Lapshin-ը, չէ որ տարիներ շարունակ շատ հարավոր մարդիկ հայտնի քաղաքական գործիչներ օտար երկրներից այցելել են Արցախ։ Ինչու հենց պարոն Lapshin-ը, դա կապ ուներ իր ազգության հետ, դա կապ ուներ ինչի հետ։ Եթե նրանց պետք էր աղմուկ, կարող էին փոքր խնդիրներ ստեղծել ինչ-որ քաղաքական գործիչների համար, որ աղմուկ բարձրանա, բայց այս կարգի տանջանքների ենթարկել մի բլոգերի, ինչու հենց պարոն Lapshin-ը։ Եթե կուզեք ռուսերեն կուղեմ, եթե կուզեք անգլերեն։
She's wondering, because a lot of people have come to Artsakh in violation of Azerbaijan's requirement. He says, what is the reason why, of all these people that went, they went after you? What's the real reason, do you think, why they went after you? Is it because of your ethnic origin, you being Jewish, or is it some other consideration that they go after a blogger instead of going after a lot of prominent politicians from different countries who also went to Artsakh?
So I think there are a number of reasons, in my own opinion. So first of all, I published a number of articles and I criticized the regime of Azerbaijan. The second reason, I was careless enough to visit the last dictatorship in Europe, in Belarus. So most of the people from the Black List, they like Europeans, Americans, they have no intention to go to Belarus to visit Lukashenko. So scared is enough. And the third reason is that I visited Azerbaijan being already blacklisted, and they paid for my ticket, and it was kind of slap in their face. So I think three reasons, basically. And maybe the fourth reason, but I'm not sure. They try to extract from Israel some military technologies. I think so.
I am.
Уважаемый Александр Валерьевич, добро пожаловать. Огромное спасибо. Тот путь, который вы прошли, это, конечно, большой герой. Когда вас арестовали 15 декабря 2016 года, это было плотное предательство Лукашенко, который, я могу уверенно сказать, что Алиев его покупал. Я думаю, что он потратил около $50 миллионов, чтобы вас взяли. Тот самолет, который вас перевезли из Минска, это приблизительно где-то около $500 тысяч стоит вот этот Гольфстрим самолет, если я не ошибаюсь. Тот подпуск, который Лукашенко сделал, конечно, когда вас передал 17 февраля, по-моему, в 2016 году, вам передали вот правоохранителями Азербайджана. Алиев – это человек очень плотный, очень шовинист и очень жадный, и очень злопамятный. Понимаете, вот так. Это был его самый большой позор, когда вас арестовал. Это было самое большое пятно, которое он заработал, потому что весь мир начал его критиковать. И он не знал, как вас освободить, понимаете, вот так. Я очень хорошо знаю этого человека, я когда учился с ним. Это действительно, это человек, который может прийти в все. Ну, я не буду там много что-то говорить, я просто хочу сказать, что то, что вы делаете для армянского народа, для Армении, это, я не знаю, как передать огромное спасибо. Вы делаете то, что, скажем, нам это не хватает. Агитация ваша вот эта заслуга, это, конечно, имеет очень большое уважение. И последний, до того, когда вас освободили, я вас не видел, ко мне пришел святой Николай Чудотворец, и я прошу, пожалуйста, помоги, там парень просто так сидит, и его, знаете, как очень жестоко к нему обращается, если это возможно. И он как-то мне говорит, почему ты не обращаешься с святой Георгий Победоносца? Я говорю, хорошо. И, знаете, второй вечер, и приходит святой Георгий Победоносец, я прошу, помоги, парень пропадает. Говорит, как его зовут? Я говорю, Саша. И буквально через 2 дня вы, знаете, как сказать, вы уже на свободе, рад вас видеть. Армянский народ всегда готов встретить вас, где бы ни были, наши дома всегда открыты. Здоровья вам, кто вам дорог. Берегите себя. Спасибо.
Спасибо. Thank you so much.
Somebody translate it, please.
I'll tell you later.
That was a very long question.
So this man said that Aliyev paid about $50 million in order to arrest me in Belarus, to arrange my extradition. And he said that he prayed to Nicholas Dator, Miracle Maker. Nicholas Miracle Maker. He prayed just to be released, to survive. So thank you so much. So you mentioned about $50 million. This is an interesting story. A couple of years ago, some guy called me Gary White. And he said, my boss wants to talk to you. I asked, who is your boss? He said, billionaire Gary Zolkan. Basically, I never heard about him. I said, okay. So we came to Gary Zolkan, the city of Iran, his residence, huge residence on the outskirts of the city. So Gary Zolkan told me, look, Gary was arrested. In Belarus, so before the extradition. So received the call from the ex-president Serge Sarkisyan. And Serge Sarkisyan told him, look, there's a journalist arrested in Belarus because of Azerbaijan because of his outside visit. So we need to do something to prevent his extradition. So he said, try to somehow communicate with President Lukashenko of Belarus to stop it, because it's going to be against our national interest in the Republic of Armenia. against the interests of Republic of Artsakh. So guys, you can told me after about a week, maybe 2 weeks, I don't remember for sure. He visited Minsk, the capital city of Belarus, and talked to President Lukashenko. And as far as I remember, Lukashenko told him, come on, so I have to pay to Putin for Russian company Gazprom. I have to pay for the gas supplies from Russia about $2 billion. So Aliyev is able to provide us credits or something. So that's all. That I don't care about that stuff. This is just business about gas. That's it.
It just occurred to me, Alexander, when you were going by train to Belarus, how did Azerbaijan know that you're on the train entering Belarus to send word to Belarus to arrest you?
Because it just published my locations. My locations in the Facebook.
Oh, you wrote about it.
Like most of the people nowadays. But nowadays, when I just post my locations, I just post it 3-4 days after I leave the place. So, for example, I published about my visits to Mexico City and all the meetings with local politicians when I crossed the border to California. So I published, I arrived to Mexico City. So let them just search for me.
Any other questions from audience?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Lapshin, thank you for being here, and thank you to the organizers. I'd be curious, as a journalist and as a traveler, whether you care to weigh in on how you think the course of the war in Ukraine will go, how long it would take. I appreciate there would be a personal opinion, if you care to weigh in. I'd love to hear it. Thank you.
That's a really complicated question. And especially for me, because my family originally from Western Ukraine, Poland, I have relatives in the city of Kiev and Lviv, and I have relatives in Russia. So, and I have even friends who fight each other from both sides, and all of them in my smartphone, WhatsApp. So you just ask somebody, what's going on? He's an officer in the Russian army, and I have a couple of officers in the Ukrainian army who just confront each other. Once we were just one family before the conflict. So what's going to happen? I don't know. So I'm sure that Russia will lose the war. This is 100%. The question is how long time it's going to take. Because the Americans lost the war in Vietnam after 10 years of fighting. The same with Soviets in Afghanistan. And the same with Americans once again in Afghanistan and Iraq. But unfortunately, hundreds of thousands of people are going to be killed, and millions of refugees. And I think so, that the Ukrainians will experience a huge betrayal from the West. So today, the United States and the rest of Europe supply the West with weapons, military equipment, but I don't believe that the West just dream to destroy and to corrupt Russian Federation because of the nuclear weapons. In case Russia will collapse, so nuclear weapons will spread to all the different guerrilla groups inside Russian Federation, ex-Russian Federation. So I think part of the Ukrainian territory will still occupied in any case, but the war will be somehow just frozen for all the time. So the situation is bad, basically.
One question.
In the back.
I want to know what are the things that will make you give up what you're doing for human rights? Are there any risks personal that you are afraid of?
Of course, after I was released from the jail, so I experienced 2 attempts in my life after I was released from the jail. So first time it happened on 15th of December. Actually, I was arrested on 15th of December 2016. Next time, 15th of December 2019. It was an attempt on my life in the Republic of Latvia, in Riga. I was invited to take a part to participate in a tourist-related exhibition. So, but I was lucky enough. It was my flight from London to Riga. So in London, before the boarding my flight to Latvia, so they called me, the passenger Lapshin, please come to the transfer desk or something. And I was met by 2 British policemen, and they told me, so based on our information provided by our Latvian colleagues, you're not advised to fly to Latvia at all, because based on our information, it's going to be a temporary life in Latvia during the tourist conference. We have information about 2 groups of Azerbaijanis, 2 groups, each one is 12 people, with Russian, Belarusian, Ukrainian, and even Armenian passport. And all of them actually fluent Armenian language. And so I asked, okay, so how these groups connected to me? So they said we just were able to catch some message, WhatsApp message from one another to another with their picture. So I asked, okay, so if I understand you mean that they came here to kill me or something? They said they came to Yerevan for spying, for different provocations, but don't worry, this is our business, we know what to do. But our advice, just leave Armenia. Right now, today, leave Armenia. And when we'll do what we have to do with those guys, we'll be able to come back. So we spent 2 months in Egypt. So the first flight, after about 3 hours after we stalled, we took the first flight outside of Armenia to Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt. We spent 2 months in Egypt, and then we came back to Yerevan. When I received the message, that's everything is set. So why 15th of December every time? So they arrested me on 15th of December 2016, then 15th of December 2019, 15th of December 2020. Because on 14th of December, it was the funeral day of Gaydar Aliyev, the father of Ilham Aliyev. And 21st of December is the birthday of Ilham Aliyev. So this is a Catholic Christmas, 21st of December. So all of the government officials and intelligence officials of Azerbaijan, they tried to provide kind of gift to Ilham Aliyev between those mentioned 2 dates, the death of his father and his birthday. And actually, I keep in touch with a couple of Azerbaijani opposition leaders, and I found out that all of them experienced the same. All of attempts on their life happened on the same day, 15, 16, or 17 of December. So this kind of mystics.
Thank you.
Levon? Yes, thank you. I appreciate you being here. Share with us the harsh experiences you had. You were an advocate of Artsakh in Armenia, and you paid for it by your being matter of principle and tell the truth. And we appreciate that. My question to you is, let me tell you this way, the question. I think most of the world, at least Armenians here, know that Aliyev and Azerbaijan tell a lot of fake stories, fake propaganda. They use propaganda machine as an instrument of war, try to discourage the Armenians in Artsakh and Armenians everywhere, that Artsakh is gone. It's all belongs to Azerbaijan. However, the reality is just otherwise, because after all 7 months of blockade, Armenians in Artsakh have left. As a matter of fact, the last rally in Stepanakert, it was people speaking, and the government of Artsakh was listening. This is the change. So people are speaking, and they're not happy about the situation, that Aliyev and Russia are not doing their job. So they're still free. They have been living in freedom in their ancestral lands before 9 BC, 9th century BC, and still are. They're besieged, but they are free. So one question to you would be, there are a lot of advocates that are Armenians and Americans who are writing letters to the Congress, to the White House, the President, and trying to say they don't believe, and why are you complicit with Azerbaijan? As you know, everybody knows, the United States of America is complicit supporting Azerbaijan, and Israel is supporting Azerbaijan, and this is not something we like. So, as we write the advocacy letters, complaints, videos, send it to the agencies in the United States, will you be, and of course what you say goes a lot more farther away than if somebody in this country was an Armenian saying, because a non-Armenian advocate works a lot more to be listened to, and of course you will be listened to. Would you be willing to be an advocate and join any of the Armenian groups who are talking to the president or Biden, president or vice president or White House? Would you be willing to join these advocates to tell the truth that these people are still, after all these months, still seeking their independence, and they deserve it? Would you be willing to do that?
I was just happy to take a part in this independence, as you mentioned, but unfortunately I applied a number of times to ANCA, biggest Armenian organization. I'm not sure I have to mention it, but okay, so truth is more important. So I applied to a number of times, I received no feedback, unfortunately. So I tried by myself, sent emails, I tried to get in touch with different Congress members, and still waiting for the feedback. But basically I'm ready. As for the people for TAP, I think your first question there. So they're really strong and brave, and but you know, let's come back to real politics. So the Armenian government, they don't care about outside. They care about the petrol supplies through the pipeline Baku-Tbilisi-Zhika. So we can send millions of letters and complaints. But still, I believe just in one thing. So Russian army entered the Artsakh territory not in order to support Armenians. They came there to strengthen their influence in South Caucasus. So they invested billions of dollars, not for just to leave this area after 5 years. So I don't believe so. So when I visited last time Artsakh, a number of months before the blockade, so I could just, I could see the Russian military bases. I went several, so 3.5 years in the military. So I can understand where is peace forces and there's a real army. So this is not the peace forces. They have tanks, they have military helicopters, a lot of them. I can see the weapons. I can see everything. So they based there for a long time, not for 5 years. So hopefully, they will stay there. Irrespectively to the relations between Putin and Nikol Pashinyan and the leave. So in case Russia will decide to abandon the Nagorno-Karabakh Artsakh area, they will lose any influence on both Armenia and Azerbaijan. That's it. So I believe that they will stay there.
Thank you. I'll ask other questions later because other people want to ask questions.
Is anyone else want to
I thank you for your courage because it is very hard to speak up the truth publicly and globally. Just a small question. Have you ever been forced in some way or threatened to speak something or say something you don't believe?
Yeah, of course. I think I already mentioned. Basically, in Israel, I was asked to stop all we do against Azerbaijan because this is against the national interest of Israel. So that's why me and my family are homeless today. Because my wife, she is a citizen of the Republic of Moldova, and she's not able to live in Israel, in spite of the fact that we married 14 years ago and have a daughter who just was born in Israel. That's it. So, and also threats to my life, every day I receive different messages and different strange calls. But I'm used to it. That's okay. That's life.
Just if it's right to ask you about your future plans or goals.
So I'll continue what I do. I just can't stop, and not because of outside, but first of all because in case I will stop it, they will kill me. So my safety is my publicity. That's the point.
Yeah, I wish you good luck. Thank you for your support.
So I also want to ask, as obviously we are Armenian Americans, and have you ever considered permanently making a switch or apply for a permanent stay in the US and lending your voice and the work that you do as an American citizen?
Look, basically, I never think about that. This is a good idea, but you know what? I cannot apply as a refugee in the United States because considering the relation between Israel and the United States, it will consider it as a well-developed and democratic country. There are no refugees from Israel. I cannot complain to the American authorities that experience anti-Semitism in Israel. So that's the point. But that's okay. So I enjoy my life.
Thank you very much for your presence, your patience. I hope it was very interesting, illuminating, and we all have the same feeling about Mr. Lapshin, for everything he sacrificed, his personal life, his family life, for Artsakh and our Armenians, because the basic human rights issue, and he's a great human rights activist. And if you think of anything that Armenians should be doing to better benefit from his support, please feel free to contact him or us, and then we'll see what else we can do, because as you all know, I don't need to say it, Armenia and Artsakh are in very bad shape, and they need all the support we can get. And we're doing everything we can, many of us, but to have Mr. Lapshin support us, that adds a lot to our fight, and hopefully we will make some progress soon, because as you know, there's 127 or 130 days of blockade in Lapshin corridor. People are running out of food, out of medicine. A couple of kids died recently in Artsakh. So it's really a desperate situation. We need the support of the whole world. And unfortunately, as Mr. Lapshin has been told repeatedly, the world believes in realpolitik, it believes in power, and they don't care about human rights or rights of minorities or rights of the human rights of people. So we have a big battle in our hands. We have to continue fighting, and as they say, never give up. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I would mention the issue of Armenians prison for the war, who actually kept in the same prison, Kurdahane prison near the city of Sungait, where I was kept. Exactly the same prison, the same fourth block of this prison. And presently I received a couple of messages from Azerbaijan, I keep in touch with them. So they told me there are between 14 and 16 Armenians in this prison nowadays. So I think after this meeting they will remove to another prison, but now they're so we need to do something just in order to maybe come back home, because they experience terrible things. So at least in my case, they were afraid of the reaction of Israel and Russia, etc., Red Cross, but in their case, they're just alone in horrible conditions, and some of them experience sexual violence. So some of the Armenian people in the world who just came back home, I kept in touch with some of them, and they told me the truly horrible stories. And because of the traditional culture, most of those guys from the villages in Armenia. So I invited them to go together to America and to tell the world about what they experienced. So they refused. So those guys are actually now in the prison. So we're here in America. We're in America. everything is good, but those guys, they can die. They can die every day. So, hope for best.
Thank you very much.
Take more questions?
One more question.
I wanted to follow up actually at the political point. What you said about Russia's presence was very interesting. I've also heard of the possibility of non-Russian peacekeeping forces in Artsakh. Do you see this as a part of their approach? Do you see this as a possibility? Have you heard such proposals? Thank you.
Unfortunately, I don't believe so, because of one simple reason. So, as I mentioned, Russians arrived to Artsakh, not to leave Artsakh. So they need this territory to give the military bases like 20 miles south of the pipeline. I mean, so I can understand Europeans and Americans just want to expel Russians from this region. I can understand, but I don't believe so. So Russia will keep ground even Artsakh.
Thank you.
Thank you.